Alrighty, so this one is for you, Libra. Hi, this is Tarot Lumination, and this is your general report for the February 2018 season. Okay, so Libra, what's going on? What's going on up there in your world? We got these eclipses going on for you. They're pretty harmonious, I would imagine, because the Leo Aquarius axis is generally very sextile, harmonious to your Libra axis. That particular eclipse axis is very prominent right now in the heavens. It's going to affect you in your 5th and 11th house. So that's a lot to do with creative self-expression, risk, fun, happiness, feeling good, just being being like a star, having new beginnings, having a chance at new beginnings in that way. But it could be very rattled up too, serious awakenings, like serious wake-up calls about what's happening in love, romance, in the personal sense, as opposed to what was happening in the community, So the other thing, what's happening? Let's keep shuffling. I want to do this, and I got to get rolling quickly. Okay, hold on. Let me get up to speed here. Cards were already well shuffled in advance, but I like to go to the last second. No jumpers, flyers, oracles, no reversals. We're going to use that journey spread for you, and like everyone else, you're going to reinterpret to suit you. Okay? Watch your sun, moon, rising, and all that, and reinterpret again. And do the cross-watching too if you want. Also, let's have a look here. Let's see. Let's just get on with the story, okay? Cards are well shuffled. Good. All right. Let's cut it up. I'll throw in some little tidbits as we go along. We'll see what happens, okay? Remember, Libra, we are blessed by our angels. They're with us right now, okay? It's a group effort. At the very core, we have the heart energy, right at the very epicenter here. You might not understand it, what's going on. So many of us live in our minds, in our senses, so to speak, and we often ignore the heart energy. So we might not even have any sophistication or language about the energy here right now. We'll see. Over here is legacy energy, history, baggage. Maybe it's pain and suffering from years of Saturn. Maybe it's rewards from doing some really good jobs at things. Maybe it's indolence. Maybe it's confusion. Maybe it's freedom, whatever it is. We'll see. Over here is the energy of the ever-present now. We have this construct that we call time, okay? We're always moving through this Saturn-based thing called time, where we have a sense of the past and a sense of a future, but everything's actually happens in the now, and that's where all your power is. So it's in the present, it's in the now by owning the present, staying there very deliberately and consciously, where you own your power, and the power is executed through the healing power of your decisions. The decisions are like switches that activate and open energy fields to happen and work for you. So, let's just say things are going well and you're just really comfortable in the now and you're very consciously aware, then this would all kind of make sense to you. How are you going to make the best of your energy here in a way that nurtures you? Because the heart wants what it wants, it needs what it needs, it has to get what it has to get. Otherwise, it diminishes, okay? So it's so important that you love yourself first. So the question is, how do we do that with the energy that's building up here, okay? So that you are nourished, that you are nurtured, and can be your highest, most loving, deeply loved self, and bringing this consequently to you. Now, if you're always outsourcing your life, thinking that it's just fate, then that's what this would feel like. If you think life happens to you, then you just react, this is, okay, fate. All right, so what happens when you make good self-loving decisions, which is ultimately what's best for everybody in your life, in your world, in your immediate surroundings, then how does that feel? What does that look like? What happens if you mess up now and again? It does happen, okay? What's it look like? It's the same energy. This is just the inverse, okay? That's all it is. Over here, prospects, moving on to the next beat. Think of this, as a month full of heartbeats. living your life, okay? And one heartbeat feeds the next heartbeat, okay? Over here, circumstantial energy, think of it as weather, prevailing conditions that you in your deeply present, deeply conscious now are going to make the best of. So if you're living, let's say, less than fully consciously, circumstances might feel like what they are. In other words, if it's really, really awful conditions, you might feel awful. If it's really awesome conditions, you might feel great, but then you're living at the mercy of circumstance instead of owning it. So let's have a look. We want you to own your weather, Libra, and make the best of it. Okay, well, you've got the Eight of Wands here, so it's an indication that you've got kind of a lot on your mind that you'd like to express, that you'd like to do passionately, literally. It's like firepower, having that firepower to want to live your life, to really, really want to enjoy it passionately. And the circumstances are, let's say, encouraging you to do so. So it's basically, it's like having really good weather, and Libra says, okay, I'm just going to go for it. Thank you very, very much. So there we go. Let's have a look at the heart energy at the core. Redemption, okay? We don't actually know what's going to happen. In order for you to say, to activate and, let's say, express yourself so openly, passionately, and vividly in a way that works for you, which works best for everybody, taking full advantage of your circumstances, it might require that your heart goes through some big, big shift where it has to understand that certain ways of life and being are over, and you are being blessed and released and forgiven and allowed to reformat, reprogram, and move on. Now, there might be issues that need to be forgiven. We don't know what they are. You might know what they are. Maybe you need to forgive yourself. Maybe there's some transgressions that need to be forgiven. Maybe you need to forgive others their transgressions towards you, and maybe others need to forgive you your transgressions towards them. So it's like a massive peacemaking energy that your heart requires and desires. Redemption, reconciliation, rebirth, having a chance to start anew. I feel this is very closely related to the eclipses, how it's going to affect how you express yourself in this world from here onwards. I think things are going to be really shaken up a lot, shaken up a lot, and it's like finding out what's not working, because the eclipses, especially the new moon in the middle of February, that's going to hit right on the collective south node. So you're going to become very starkly aware of what's not working for you, like in the love life or the creative self-expression or who you are, who you really want to be. And you might get a stark, vivid awareness of what might work for you. Okay? Well, we'll see how that goes. That's probably next month. What are you bringing in with you? Okay. Well, there's a very strong determination to make the best of the circumstances, make the best of the energy, run with it and own it and take charge of it, so that, let's say, fate does not take charge of you. It might feel that with these eclipse energies, even though these are very beautiful cards in their own right, there could be a real sense of shaking up going on, especially with that new moon eclipse in the middle of February in Aquarius. It's very comfortable energy. Aquarian energy is very comfortable for you, Libra. It's just a natural, what's called a natural trine. However, it's still an eclipse. So we might be waking up some amazing new, like romantic opportunities or creative self-expression opportunities for you, and you're sensing it. But it can also be very rattling because it's Uranian energy, and that can be extremely unpredictable. So in theory, let's just say the unpredictability could be very good, even if something really, let's say, very jarring happens around these eclipses, something very like destabilizing. There's something good to be had out of it. And You obviously want that to happen. There's a strong intention here that you really, really want to make the best of this for yourself some way, somehow, so that whatever's not working for you needs to be exposed so that you can figure out how to make things work for you better. So what about the present? What about now? Okay, so how does that translate? Because these are very powerful cards to come in at the start of the reading here. A lot of power, a lot of firepower here. So you might feel very, very fired up, Libra, in going through February here, because it's very strong energy with the eclipses. It's really like intense energy striking on those very vivid parts of life, especially the fifth house, Aquarius energy for you. So we'll see. And with the rattling that might happen, with the big shakeups and the big awakenings that might happen, it might urge you and almost like feel like you're being forced and pressured by nature. You can blame it on the planets, that it's time to leave behind what is not working for you and focus on what really does work for you down the road. But seeing it as possibly a new vision, coming at it from a very new perspective, like what am I going to do? Like becoming very aware of like, well, what am I going to do with my life? How am I going to maximize these shakeups and these new beginnings? You've also got Saturn in Capricorn. Has just started a 3-year journey through the foundations of your life in the fourth house. That can be extremely unsettling. I don't want to scare you, but it's like having the foundations of your life completely shaken up, where anything and everything that is not real, not true, not working is going to be shaken up and brought to your attention, and which could, trigger that feeling like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do here? Uh, if there's a lot of stability that's suddenly becoming destabilized, that can be very uncomfortable for anybody. It doesn't matter about the nice, Aquarius, Leo eclipses and all of that. So, let's say forewarned is forearmed. Like with this Saturn journey going through your fourth house, it could really be a strong indication that you want to take charge of your whole life and start a completely new life where it's much more, let's say, self-loving, self-centric, and putting yourself at the center of this, which is a good thing. It's a very noble thing, but it means having to do a tremendous amount of forgiving and a tremendous amount of being forgiven as well. There might be a lot of buried issues that are coming to the surface in the next month that are going to be very stark, and they're just going to have to be dealt with, okay? You might feel it deep in your bones, or it might be very evident right there in front of you. But either way, the sensation of wanting to move on and make the best of it is very powerful right now. So how do we do that? Let's have a look at the decisions here. So in the energy field of your decisions, it's so important to understand. Whenever I've seen this card so much recently, but think about it like energy flows where attention goes. Now, if there are things that are exposed in February that are not working for you, please understand that's what's supposed to happen. The whole idea of the eclipse is to shake us up so that we can evolve and grow, so that we don't stagnate and become fossilized, okay? So in the process, when we have to, let's say, become very present and realize that it is time to change, it is time to move on, and it might mean realizing all these like woe is me things that didn't work, and it becomes a sort of sad tale. I'm tuning into the Saturn energy now, Saturn in the fourth house, where it's all about like, damn it, I did this and I did that and I did that. I provided so much and I had so much love to share, and so much love was shared with me. And like, where is all that now? Where is it all going? How am I supposed to make the best of who I am and what I've got right now? Because this shakeup could be very unsettling. So it could make it hard to make really effective self-loving decisions. If you feel as though things are moving on, or that you have a desire to move on into more peaceful, calm waters where you are the boss and you own your own life, your own world at the very foundations, as opposed to getting everything rattled up. So if this is the energy that's permeating your, let's say, decision-making capacities, it could be very easy to mess up on making decisions. Because if you're preoccupied with things that are slowly falling apart because of Saturn, where you are now being challenged to restructure, rebuild, repurpose, remodel your life, your world, your home from the foundations upward, literally from the home upwards and in the home. And if you're doing that from this kind of perspective, like, well, why bother, you know? And instead, it's like instead now we have to figure out how do you change your attention to what works so you can do things from the loving perspective. And that might be hard to do through the Saturn journey, which literally just began and it's now going to go for another 3 years. I'm not saying this is a 3-year reading, but I'm just feel it's really important to acknowledge the Saturn energy right now and acknowledge the eclipses, because the Saturn thing combined with the eclipses can really, really shake things up, really, really rattle things up with love and romance and the home and the foundations, okay? Which could inspire you. That could be, even though it could feel uncomfortable, it could be the thing that you need to trigger you to set off and move on into new ways of being, new attitudes, new perceptions about how to live your life with people that you love, but where you're much more in charge now as opposed to, let's say, just floating along. So how do we do this effectively? Okay, it's it's really, there's a lot of big cards here, Libra, a lot of like power cards here. So the way to handle this is to, please see this as a healing experience, okay? It might not be uncomfortable. It's like perhaps realizing you're going to have to go through a long-term healthcare regimen. I'm not saying healthcare, but, well, I am saying healthcare, but how do you take care, how do you heal yourself in this situation? Because if a lot of things do get rattled up and shaken up and they're uncomfortable for you, the point I'm trying to make is, without hurting your feelings, is that that's what's supposed to happen. Okay, the transformation card here, this is all about Jupiter in Scorpio right now. This is happening in your second house, okay? Jupiter is the great benefic, the great healer, bringing you, for example, a greater sense of self-worth. But it could be very transformational. You might be seeing ways that you have degraded yourself or undervalued yourself. And now it's becoming really, really apparent. And now you're having to change and completely transform how you look at your world, your foundations, your love life, in order to evolve and grow. And that could be quite painful, okay? So it's understanding that because of what's happening here, Saturn is going to be in hard angle to you. Saturn for the next 3 years is probably going to put you under a lot of pressure in the home, the family circumstances, in ways that are going to require deep transformational changes for you in order for you to move on and grow and evolve in a way that works. So there's no point in getting bogged down with what's not working. It's important to focus on what does work. And what does work is to love you first, understand that what's happening is coming from a bigger, higher frequency, and it's ultimately for your benefit. Anything that's not working is going to be systematically sliced away. Whatever is not yours moves away. Whatever is yours comes to you. Whatever that is. A concept, a belief, an understanding, an asset, something beautiful, something joyful. Think of it as ownership. Whatever is not yours moves away. Whatever is yours comes to you. Pure karma, pure, deep soul healing. Thank you, Jupiter and Scorpio. Be grateful. Attitude of gratitude. Very, very important here. No matter how bumpy it gets, please see it as evolutionary, big evolutionary steps. Okay. Consequently, see? Wow. Big love. Big, big, big love. It's almost like I'm not going to, okay, I'm just telling you right now, Libra, I'm not going to have an emotional breakdown right now because That's what I feel is happening inside of me, but I'm not going to let it interfere with this reading. I want to stay very calm for you right now. But it's almost like having a major, major breakdown when it comes to matters of love in the heart and the home. And then the awakening that comes out of the other side of it about how beautiful things really, really are, but not in the way that you ever thought. That's what I'm feeling here. And it allows you to become, let's say, more in tune with the healing power of love as how it's actually meant to flow in your life. Being extremely forgiving, being deeply forgiven. I don't know the time span of this journey. It feels very big, even though it's for February. So please give Tarot Illumination some wiggle room here. So by being willing, by allowing yourself to be shaken and rattled and disturbed and the foundations, let's say, ripped apart so that you have to rebuild from scratch, please see that as a good thing, because it's probably what you need very, very much. It's what your heart craves and deserves and wants, and it's going to get it. And the key thing is to allow it to happen. In other words, surrender to the transformation, allow the transformational healing to occur. And that's very good for you. So what happens if you insist on sticking with what you loved in the past, and deciding to wallow in like what didn't work? Oh, could have, if only this, if this, if only that, and if coulda, woulda, shoulda, blah, blah, blah. So what happens if you wallow in that and you start, degrading the effectiveness of your decisions? Okay, you lose out on this. You lose out on all the love. What happens if you effectively allow yourself to be transformed, where you allow the shaking and the rattling and the pulling apart to happen, and you don't resist it, you don't fight it, you forgive it and you forget it, and you move on, and you allow yourself to transform. You allow the healing power of love to move into and through your life. That's what you get. Okay. Now, it might not happen in the form that you could have ever imagined, because this is essentially in the land of opportunity, the land of the so-called future. And we might not have any words for how your future might look, but it's all about transformational energy healing so that you can be happy at a much more deep core level of yourself than ever before. Okay? Through your decisions. And allowing, let's say, because these are such powerful cards here and there's so many of them, let's say allowing fate to occur, allowing these deep transformational experiences to occur. The eclipses, Saturn in Capricorn, Jupiter in Scorpio, it's really, really, really going to shake things up for you. Turn it upside down. You can handle it, Libra, okay? So, yeah, it's going to be deeply, deeply, let's say, cataclysmic for you. Let's say cataclysmic in a good way. I like to think of the Tower as one of the most powerful healing cards in the deck. That's just how I feel it. So if it takes you to the point where you realize, oh my gosh, everything is falling apart, please understand that that's a good thing. Okay. I like to put a positive spin on readings. I don't like to be, let's say, owned by like the fear of things. Yes, this can appear. A lot of people are scared of seeing this card. I see this as beautiful. I see this as spectacular. I see this as an absolutely. I mean, look at this. It's an insane, crazy reading. Look at all this like fated energy here. Let's just call it fate. I'm thinking of I'm breaking it down into those chunks. The eclipses here. Oh, let's put that. You could almost put these together as the eclipses and Saturn. This is your heart's desire to be reborn, and this is the being reborn. This is the obliteration and destruction and the collapse of anything and everything that is no longer yours. Whatever is no longer yours is gone. Whatever is yours is coming to you. Okay? And that's a good thing. It just might not be what you thought it was or what you thought it could be, but it is all about renewal, rebirth, and happiness. Okay? So get ready for an amazing ride, Libra. Okay? I'm not going to say anything more. You can reinterpret this however you want. You're good at that. I know you can do it. You've got a lot of courage and firepower here. Go for it, okay, Libra? And hold on to whatever you feel stabilizes you, okay? Especially love, okay? The healing power of love. Invoke the healing power of love into your life by decree and allow the transformations to occur, okay? It's ultimately very healing for you. Got to reveal it to heal it. You might have been burying a lot of stuff that's been hidden for a long time, and now it needs to be released and healed, okay? There you go. Thank you, Libra. All the best. Bye-bye.